Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. This is 401 Styling, and today on the channel I'll be showing us how to draft and cut this panel blouse. Some people call it 6 pieces. This depends on how many panels you have. So guys, just come with me as we make this beautiful piece. To draft a panel blouse, depending on how many panels you want, you would need a full scale basic bodice, just like I did here, although I didn't finish it. But this particular one is going to be having a zip at the front. I already draw my lines, the bust point on the bust, waist, and the blouse length. Okay, and from this line I'm going to be starting my measurement. So this space I have here is my zip allowance, 1.5 inch. Okay, if your blouse is going to be having a zip, but if it's not going to be having a front zip, you will have your back zip as usual. Then from this line I'll be taking my neck measurements, the neck width and the neck depth. So I'm using 3 by 3, just a basic neckline. Okay, and to make it easier for you to draw your neckline, you can simply use your measurement to create a box, a square, just like I'm doing, and from there you are going to be getting a round neckline. From this tip you come in by 1 inch. Okay, just like you see me doing. This is actually for the beginners, or maybe you have a problem or issue using a curve rope. Okay, so after that I'm going to input my shoulder measurement divided by 2, then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. That line is just like a guide, it's not necessary. Now for the neck tightening, you can come down by 0.5 from your neck width, just like you see me doing. Then you connect back to the shoulder slope like I'm doing. So after that, now we want to create our armhole line and armhole curve. Okay, so you'll be dividing your bust by 4 plus 1.5 by 6 rather, sorry, or you come up by 2 inches from your bust points, then you connect to get your chest line measurements. Okay, and you can simply use your measurements, your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Then from there you connect straight down with a straight ruler like you see me doing. That's your armhole line. Now for the armhole curve, you come to this line and find the midpoint, or you come up by 3 inches from your chest line anyhow. Then you come in by 0.5 from the midpoint, and from there you're going to connect to your bust point measurement. On your chest line, you divide your bust divided by 4. Then from the mid armhole, you're going to connect with a curve like this. So after that, now you come in with your straight ruler and connect back from the curve to the tip of the shoulder slope like you see me doing now. Then you have created your armhole curve. So after which you have done that, the next thing we want to do now is to take our width dart. Okay, to create our darts, we are going to be using our bust span divided by 2. Mine is 7 inches, so I'll be using 3.5 inches. Then you draw a line to connect those points. You are going to mark 3.5 inches from your chest line down to the top length. Okay, so on the waistline now, you are going to be taking your waist dart, and for this I'll be using 0.75 on both sides. Initially we used to use 0.5, but this depends on how much more tightening you want around the waist. Okay, so on the top length you take 0.25 on both sides. Okay, that is how I wanted it. Then you connect it like this from the top length to the waist dart, and from the waist dart you connect back to the bust point, just like you see me doing. I'm just making use of this marker to make it more visible for us to see. You can go ahead and use your pencil first in case you want to, or you make any mistake, you can easily clean it up. So that's that about our waist dart. Okay, so after which we have done the waist dart, the next thing we want to do is to create our armhole princess dart. So to do that, you come to the mid armhole that we draw initially and connect back to the bust point with your curve rule, just like you see me doing. You need to be careful. That's why I'm using my pencil in case of any mistake. And after which you are done and you are sure of the lines, you can use your marker. So from this first line you come down by 1 inch. Okay, to take the armhole dart, then you connect back to the bust point with a curve like I'm doing right now. So after that, now what you want to do is to extend that new line by 1 inch to replace the 1 inch we took, okay, so that it doesn't shorten by the time you are joining it. So after connecting it, you connect back to the armhole to create the new armhole curve, okay. Then you make your lines visible. As you can see, the highlighted lines are the places that we are going to be cutting out. So after which you have done that, now we'll take our body circumference, your bust divided by 4. You mark it on the chest line and on the bust line as well. It's the same thing, but on the waistline you are going to divide your waist by 4, okay. After dividing it by 4, you will replace the dart you take 1.5 and mark it. Then on your top length, you are going to be taking your hip measurements divided by 4, okay, and then you will replace the dart you took, that is your 0.5. You know we have 0.25 on both sides, then you replace it, okay. Then you connect like so. What I'm doing now is connecting the original measurement first, and after that I will now confirm the replacement of my dart. Then I'll connect again, and this is new line. This new line is what you are going to be making use of. So by the time we cut out the darts, all the shapes will fall back into place. So if you have a funny shape, do not mind. By the time you cut out your measurements, everything will be fine. So this particular line I'm marking right now, you do not need it. So the next thing you want to do now is to take the under bust tightening, okay. On your under bust line, you take your undermost measurements divided by 4, and whatever measurement you have left, you divide it on both sides of this dart. While you are dividing it, make sure the highest portion is going towards the side front. So on the center front, I'll be putting 0.5, and on the side front I'll be putting 1 inch. Then I'll connect back this way to the bust point with my curve rule. Then from that curve, I'll connect back to the dart legs, okay. These lines are the dart legs. I'll just connect it like so. So after that, now I'll just make use of my marker to make the lines visible. So the highlighted lines are the places that we will need and will be cutting out, okay. So after that, I'll just label my pattern. The center front as 1, but before that you have to extend this neckline into the zipper allowance, okay. So the side front will be labeled as 2, and I'll be writing on it how many pieces I want. That is, I'll be cutting 2 for each part, okay. So this place that I'm marking out like this, I'm going to be cutting them out, okay. So guys, thanks for watching up to this moment. If you are yet to subscribe, click on the subscribe button now, hit the bell beside it to be notified whenever I drop a new video. Like this video, and when you are cutting this part, you really need to be careful with this curve so that you don't ruin your curve, okay. Kindly do it gently, okay. And after which you had cut it out, the important places like your bust points, make sure you mark it or you notch it so that you don't mix it up or you don't forget by the time you are done cutting. So the front pattern is set. So here is the bust point. I'll just use an arrow to demarcate that part. So guys, I almost forget before cutting this out and did not mark my bust dart. So to take your side dart or bust dart, you come down from your bust line by 2 inch. The difference between your front length and your back length, mine is 2 inch, so I'll just mark 2 inches like this. Then whatever you have, you mark it, then you connect back to the bust point with a straight line, just like you see me doing like this, okay, because you are going to be closing that so that we'll be eliminating the difference between the front length and the back length, okay. So after which you have done that, now we are going to slash through that line and close our dart. What you are just going to be doing now is that on this bust point line, you slash through it, like that is, you are going to cut it, but do not cut it off, okay. Just place it on each other like this. After slashing it to open this way, then you lift the upper one up to meet the dart line, okay. Then you hold it down with a tape, okay, and that's how it's going to be. After which you are done closing it, there's going to be a little bit of shortage around this side, this part here. So what you are going to do now is to place another paper, a piece of paper underneath because you need to replace it. Then after that, you just cut it out this way, making sure that you fill in the part that's shortened. Then you use your tape to hold it down, okay, so that you don't reduce your measurements and that piece does not look funny. So you have to cut out the excess, and this is what you are going to use to cut out on your fabric, okay. So this is the front pattern. As you can see, after closing the dart, the armhole pieces that is now wider, and we have enough room for our bust area, okay. So now to the back pattern. So for the back pattern, we are going to be drafting it without the zipper allowance. Remember, we don't have a zip at the back, okay. So after which I have done that, as you can see, I already drafted my pattern, the chest, the bust points, the waist, and the full length. We don't need under bust because there's no bust at the back, okay. So after which I've done all this, you take your dart with your bust span divided by 2, just like we did for the front. You connect it like so, and you mark your armhole. But for the back, we are not going to be doing a kind of tightening just like we did for the front. We're just going to create the armhole pieces that at the back as well, just like we did for the front. So the midpoint of the armhole, you are going to connect back to the bust point. Then you will extend it by 1 inch, okay, because by the time you cut it out, it will not rhyme, it might not be the same. So you have to extend it by 1 inch and you will connect back to the armhole. So the only difference here is that we are not doing any form of dart or tightening, okay. So after that, now you are going to get your you are going to create your waist dart like you see me doing, exactly the way we did it for the front. You do the same thing on the top length, then you connect it. So guys, after which I have done this, connect back to the bust point, okay. Then after which you have connected to the bust point, you want to do the back tightening. So for the back tightening, now you come to your waistline, come out by 0.5 or 0.75 depending on how much tightening you need. Then you connect back to the neckline and the top length. So after that, you take your body circumference just like we did for the front, and remember, on your waist you have to replace every dart intake, remember. So you replace all the measurements that you removed, okay, the darts, the back tightening, and every other thing. You have to replace it before adding your seam allowance. Remember, we have not added our seam allowance. We are going to be adding it when we are transferring to the fabric. So after that, you just mark out your measurements this way, okay. So after all this, now what you want to do now is to label your pattern, the center back, the side back, and how many pieces you are going to be cutting for each. All right, so I'll just indicate here that I'm going to be adding allowance, okay. That is why I said we should always label our patterns. Human being, we are born to forget things. And when you are cutting the back, make sure you cut through the lines, the back tightening, just cut out through the highlighted lines, just like the way I'm doing now. So guys, that'll be all for the pattern drafting, okay. This is the pattern for the back, and also this is pattern for both the front and the back, okay. Now we are just going to be using the pattern to cut out our fabric. I'll be manipulating it to the panel. So fold your fabric into 2, place your pattern on it this way. You are starting with the center front, and after that, the first thing you want to do is to add your seam allowance 0.5 all through the lines, okay. So at the top length, you're going to mark your allowance either 1 inch or 0.5, okay. So for me, I'll be using 1 inch, okay. So you draw a straight line like this to be a guide for you to know where exactly your line is. So now what we want to do now is to add fullness. We are going to be extending this part here by 3 inch, 3.5 or 4 inches. I'll be connecting back to the waistline. So this extension depends on how wide you want the blouse length to be, okay. So for me, I'll just be maintaining 3.5 inch, and after which I'd mark it this way. Remember I said we need to mark our 0.5 inch. That is the seam allowance that you are going to be using initially for your pattern. So after which you have marked the allowance, you are going to extend it back to the blouse length, that place that you mark your 3 inch. Okay, it's either you extend to the waistline or you extend to the underbust, depending on where exactly you want the wideness to start from. Okay, but for me, I'll be making use of my waist. But firstly, I'll need to add my 0.5 seam allowance all through, like you see me doing. And mind you, you'll be extending the pattern on both sides. Do you understand? We'll be extending it on both sides so that we have that shape. We'll be able to achieve that shape, that pieces shape. Okay, that is what exactly makes it look like a panel. Okay, so on this other side, I'll just mark my 3.5 again. Then I will now connect back to the waist, just like you see me doing. Even before cutting out, you already see what we have. So just like we did for this, you're going to do to every of the patterns. To each and every of the patterns, you're going to repeat the same process. Okay, so on this edge now, you can just go up by 0.75 or 1 inch and you connect back with a slight curve so that that place is not too sharp. Then you cut it out. So I'll just do this to each and every of the other patterns, then I'll show us how it will look like before sewing. So guys, this is what I have. Okay, these are the patterns and I cut 2 pieces for each of these patterns. Okay, then I have my stay. I'll go cutting the stay for the front, then I'll be cutting the lining as well, exactly the way I cut all the patterns. So I'll just do that now off camera and show us. So guys, I already had my stay, and another thing is that I added my wording, and at the same time for the side front, the 2 side fronts, I added a lace just to beautify the dress. Okay, the blouse rather. So as for the center front, you see that there is a space, that is my zipper allowance area, so the wording is not going to get into that part. So this is the front pattern. Okay, the front pattern is set, and the next thing I'll just do now is to join them together. Okay, so and as for the lining as well, I have the lining just exact way I have for the main fabrics. Okay, and as for the back, I already joined the backs together. That one does not have any issue. I joined the fabric, then I joined the lining as well. So guys, I already joined everything together. This is what I have. After joining, you notch and you open press, just like you see me doing here. So what I did was that I joined the front and the back pattern together, each side, leaving the zipper area open. Then I joined the lining too the same way, as you can see. So what I'm going to do now is to place the lining on the fabric, right side facing right side. Then I'm going to start my stitching from the zip allowance, the neckline area, and the lower part of the dress. Okay, lower part, the top length rather. I just hope you understand. So because I want an inseam finishing, so I'll just be turning everything out from the armhole. So guys, I'm done doing that and I already press my, I already press it and it's looking good. Okay, so just go ahead and do the same thing. Okay, so this is the front. I'm just going to be fixing a zipper around this part. Okay, so after fixing the zipper, I'll just fix my sleeve. Okay, then you're going to see the outcome. So guys, I'm done fixing it. I just have a little bit of puff on my sleeve, and this is the center part. You can open the zip and close it up to the how you wanted it. Okay, and this is for the back. It's just a simple back, and I have my puffy sleeve. It's around the elbow. Okay, I'll just put it on the mannequin so that we can have a good look of what I just made. So guys, this is what I have at the end. So thank you very much for watching this video up to this moment. Drop in the comment section your thoughts on this video, share, like, turn on your notification bell, subscribe, and let's meet next.